How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a great day. If you're unfamiliar with me, my name is Bungle, and today we're going to be talking about Enlisted. Now you may be wondering, what is Enlisted? Well, Enlisted is a World War II free-to-play first-person shooter. This is a great alternative to video games out there such as Battlefield 5. If you want a game with some kind of semi-arcadey, semi-realism, but also with historical accuracy and authenticity, Enlisted is the way to go. Now, like all free-to-play games, to kind of expedite, let's say, the grind or enhance your experience, there's some shortcuts or kind of pay for convenience factors. And one of these implementations in the video game Enlisted is going to be premium squads. And one of the premium squads we're going to be talking about today is the Panther A Premium tank. Now keep in mind this tank's going to cost you roughly $40, right? 40 bucks. It's a kind of a hefty investment, right? You may be wondering, Bungle, what does a premium squad, premium tank give me? Well, in addition to premium time, a premium squad gives you XP, as well as gives you a level 4 crew already maxed out with perks and skills, and a tank that's already maxed out that you can easily take out into battle and go and perform to the best of your ability. Now, going forward with this, right? $40. What is this tank? And we're going to go talk about an overview and the factors going into the Panther A. So an overview, right? This Panther A is only available right now in the Battle of Berlin campaign. Now, I'm going to try to remain as unbiased as I can here, but if you've played the Battle of Normandy campaign as the Allies, you can kind of understand that there's usually a struggle. You're usually kind of the underdog, right? Because Germany has better weapons, better equipment and stuff than you would as playing the US, right? Especially starting off. Battle of Berlin is a totally different meta, different experience than the Battle of Normandy and the Battle of Moscow. And one of the big major factors so far is the close quarters combat. And this kind of makes tank warfare, tank gameplay kind of difficult and kind of like a learning curve, right? And one of the big aspects I learned through playing the Battle of Berlin campaign, especially as Germany, is that you have to be careful where you bring your tank out in the combat. And right now, playing the Battle of Berlin, the German teams are the underdog, 100%. I don't know if it's team composition with skill necessarily, or the equipment that the Germans get, but roughly right now, definitely the big adversary for the Germans, if you're playing as a tanker, is a T-3485 DT. Now you may be wondering, okay, what's the T-3485 so good about it? Well, one, I tested it out, taking the T-34 out versus the regular Panzer IV-J, I believe, that you get starting off as the Germans in the Battle of Berlin. And the Panzer IV-J turns like a bus, it's so slow, turn traverse is terrible. When I took it out, I played the premium version of the, I think it's the, what's it called, not the Stewart, the Sherman, right? The Sherman, there's a premium Sherman you get to play as a Russian, right? So I went and took that out, and it was laughable, right? A Panzer IV-J had to jump on me, couldn't, bounce off my side turn or try to, didn't even penetrate my turret. I turn around, look at it, and just laugh. I shoot around, right? Bounces off, right? Because I wasn't really aiming. And he's slowly trying to turn the turret to try to kill me. And I just aim at him, pop shot one, another shot, he's done, right? And it's like laughable. The T-3485, the traverse is insane. For a stock tank, it's insane. It's very quick. The tank drives just very nicely. And it's kind of an unfair advantage, right? So basically, you're starting off as a Germans with a very slow tank. That Panzer IV-J that can't turn, struggles just to move, is a boss, versus a T-3485. And the 85, and one of the comments asked about doing gun calibers, and yes, I'll do a video on it, and it's very important. Gun calibers play an important role, because a T-3485 has the primary ammo of the Armored Piercing Ballistic Explosive Cap Filler, APBEC or whatever. And basically, in short, an 85mm gun that fires an AP round. When it penetrates, it also explodes into HE, right? So that basically can one-hit kill a lot of tanks. And yes, the T-3485 can one-shot the Panther A. It has happened to me multiple times against a T-3485. You maybe get lucky with a shot that bounces off here and there, but if you're playing against a competent T-3485 player, which most of the Russian teams usually have one, yeah, good luck. You're probably going to be taken out. Now, you may be wondering, all right, Bungle, you're throwing all these, things here about, the German campaign and not doing too well and everything like that, and especially starting off. And, taking a step back, right, I'm trying to be objective here. It kind of makes me wonder, did Enlisted purposely put the Panther A there as an option? Because if you look at the campaign tree, the only other tank you get is at level, I think 13 or whatever, it's a Panther G, right? There's no other Panzer IVs or anything like that. Panzer IV J is the only starter tank you get. And I get it, right? At the end of the war of 1945, whatever, Germany was getting its butt kicked, and yeah, they were short on supplies, etc., right? So yes, you can kind of put that into the gameplay, I get it, right? But at the same time, at what cost are you going to affect the gameplay? Because obviously I played all the German matches and I lost every single one. Top of my team, I even played as a starter, just doing the starter classes just to get to level 2, and I still got top of my team and still we lost. So, it's not a good experience right now. It's very, very hard, and there's some bugs too with the Panther A where I will fire at an enemy T-34-85 that I clearly spotted and it's moving, and the game won't detect or register or whatever the crosshairs. So we gotta take a step back, understand that Battle of Berlin right now is in beta, whatever you want to call it, right? Compared to Battle of Normandy and Battle of Moscow, which have been out for a hot minute. So we gotta keep that in mind as well. But going on with this, a 75mm gun, all right? So kind of this better gun, I would say, than Panzer IV in the same aspect that is a longer barrel, higher velocity for the 75mm. You can pen a T-34-85 frontally, you can pen it on the side. But as I said before, with the T-34-85 with its round versus a 75mm gun that the German uses, the round it will take like two hits to get a kill, right? And that's usually what it took me, is 2 hits to actually register a kill to get the T-34-85 to blow up. And same thing with the Premium Sherman. The Premium Sherman's pretty darn good. If you want a video on that, comment down below. I'll check it out too, because I've been playing that thing as well, just to try both sides out, so that way I'm not. And that's kind of the thing you gotta do too. When you're always playing one side, and you're saying something's overpowered or completely just blowing you out of the water, right? Try to play the other side as well and see where it's coming from, then make that decision. And that's what I did here with playing the Russians and the Germans, and I'm telling you right now, it's an enjoyable experience playing the Russians compared to the Germans. The Germans remind me of a worse version of the United States during the Normandy campaign. Just because of the team composition, how everyone's playing, you're just kind of constantly destroyed, run over, it's insane. And kind of going forward with the direction of this game, right? You may be wondering, all right, Battle of Berlin, we get close quarter combats, right? So I'm not kidding that some of the, there's only one main road you can use to go up and down the street. There isn't really like Normandy or Battle of Moscow where you have multiple avenues of approach you can use. It's only just one straight line, only one straight road, and that's pretty much it. If you even try to deviate off of that, you just get destroyed by infantry because there's little shortcuts you can take, little roads, right? But they're not big enough to get a whole tank through. So that's kind of a problem, right? I can understand Battle of Berlin, we're focusing right now on Berlin, but there's other campaigns I've looked into. Correct me, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but there was definitely a battle of something called Heights, right? And it was in Poland. I remember playing Call of Duty World at War. There was like a 3-day offensive that the Russians did against the Germans, and there's plenty of open space, plenty of, great, and it's actually classified as the Battle of Berlin campaign. So I don't understand why we can't start incorporating other features like that to get better use of a Panther A. So, yeah, and the tanks in general, because right now just driving down one street, to me honestly, another thing that's really annoying is that there's a lot of destroyed tanks and everything in that map, so it's really hard to tell if there's a live tank driving around or not. You gotta be looking at the crosshairs to see if it goes green or red or anything like that too. So it's kind of a frustrating experience, especially for both sides, but right now definitely the Russians have a major advantage, and you gotta keep in mind this is kind of in beta, right? So do I recommend going out and purchasing the Panther A right now? Well, let's ask yourself the question this. One, to even get into this, right, you got to pay $50 just to get into the closed beta access. And the squads are pretty good both sides. The MP41 and the Russians, I think PPSH or whatever squad, they're both very good. And if you want reviews, I'll do reviews on those as well. But those squads are really, really good, right? They're decent, they're good, it's a good investment, right? But you already had to pay a $50 paywall, then you had to pay for this, 40 bucks. You're like, okay, this is a lot of money, right, going into this campaign. And honestly, I can easily see someone getting buyer's remorse. Now, I'm not saying I had terrible games and the Panther A just didn't work for me. Like, yes, I got in kills, I've destroyed T-34-85s, I literally had to put myself in positions where I can get a jump on the T-34-85 or be away from infantry and everything like that. And it kind of gets frustrating that I can't bring this tank out to its full potential because one, there's destroyed tanks everywhere, so I don't even know what's a real tank. Two, there's bugs going on. If I'm trying to fire at a live tank, the rounds are ghosting. So there's ghost rounds too, so there's that as well. So, to end this tirade, basically, look, if you're looking at the Battle of Berlin, you really love the Germans and everything like that, and you just hate the Panzer IV-J, or you have the funds available, then I would recommend picking up the Panther A just to expedite that grind. It's definitely it's an upgrade, but in my opinion, it feels like it's kind of forced. Like if the Enlisted or Gaijin's trying to tell you, hey, you need to buy this, like, in order to enhance your experience. And I personally don't think it's right if a starter tank is crap compared to the premium, or compared to the other starter tank for the Russians, right? I get it, Germany was getting its butt kicked at this time period, but how far are we going to go for historical accuracy to affect, gameplay, right? So that's my take on it. But if you're on the aspect of, hey, I didn't even pay for the 50 bucks yet, or I'm not even really looking at Battle of Berlin, then I would just stand fast. I would just stand fast. Is right now focusing on Battle of Moscow and Battle of Normandy. And the reason why is that those two campaigns are kind of just flushed out. They kind of iron out the kinks and they're refining them. Those two are pretty, I would say, open beta / ready to release quality in my opinion compared to Battle of Berlin. And that's the thing we got to keep in mind too as we progress through the coming months or weeks or whatever for the Battle of Berlin, is that this is in beta, subject to change, right? And who knows, maybe a year from now the Panther A is actually going to be a really, really solid tank. So we'll just have to keep that in mind. Other than that, if you stuck around to this point of the video, thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate your comments, liking, subscribing, and commenting down below for future content. I am making a list of all the future suggestions just because I do read them. I'll make sure that I'll cover the topics. I really like the idea of talking about gun calibers too, because it definitely really does matter in this game. You may think it's maybe minuscule, but it does really affect rate of fire and etc. So we'll go into that another day. But other than that, leave comments for future suggestions, commentary about the Panther A if you think it's really a good investment. And other than that, I hope you all have a great day and take care.